Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome to the show, where we interview the nation's leading real estate entrepreneurs. Welcome back to the show if you're joining us for a second, third, or 100th time. And welcome to it if you're joining us for the first time. It's your host, Stephen Schmidt, and today I'm here with Mike Mannino, and we're going to be talking about how information is king. Mike has been a long-term entrepreneur in the business space of real estate. Started with getting his builder's license in 1998, if I recall correctly from our prior conversation to starting the show, and started flipping houses back during the '08 crash, and has been doing so ever since, and has a personal mission of getting the word out and helping people get the information they need in order to make decisions and change their lives. So with that, we're going to hop right into it. But before we do, at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x their businesses, which allows them to build the businesses they've always wanted, to allow them to live the lives they've always dreamed of. With that being said, Mike, welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much. It was so kind of an intro. I appreciate it. And it wasn't 1998, it was 1988.
Did I say 88 or did I say 98? I swear I
think you
said 88.
Well, we'll see what
man.
Let's see what the listeners say.
Well, we'll see. Drop in the comments what you think I said in the intro, and we'll take a rolling tally. I love it. So, Mike, give us a little bit of background, just for my sake and our listeners' sake. I know we had a great conversation prior to hopping on the recording, but can you just share a little bit about yourself and how you got here?
Here is a very, very wild story. I started off working at Red Lobster in 1987, and I got fired. Got fired from Red Lobster. They wanted me to work Valentine's Day. My brother was getting married on Valentine's Day, and I was standing up at the wedding. And I'm not going to work that day. Well, you can't work here anymore. Cool, great. So I got into construction. My buddy said, you should go try carpentry because you can make good money. And I went to work for a guy that could barely speak English. And I was putting up trim, casing, and base and doors. And I loved it. And at the end of the day, he goes, what do you think? I said, I love it. You're going to pay me to do this? He goes, yeah, $4 an hour. And I said, all right, cool. At the end of 2 years, he offered me a percent of the business to stay, and I declined because I wanted to go start my own business. I started my own business and finished carpentry. I've had that for like 20 years. And then I got into building, got into flipping, and now we're into apartment complexes. So we buy and flip or buy and hold apartment complexes where true passive income is king. And since from that time, from my start to finish, I got married. I married, just celebrated my 34th wedding anniversary. He had 2 amazing kids, 34 Michael and 30 years old Alexandra. And I got into professional brick breaking. I'm a 5th-degree black belt, and I've won the U.S. Open 11 times and 2 ISK belts. Have you ever heard of Andrew Tate?
Yeah.
He's a professional kickboxer.
Right.
And he has 4 ISK belts. I've got 2 of those. I was in breaking, he was in sparring.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And I got one world record, flew a fighter jet in 2020, and jumped out of a perfectly good airplane in 2018. So besides that, I do nothing.
That's awesome. What a great synopsis of the last almost 35, 40 years. Tell me this. When you transitioned from Red Lobster to working for this other gentleman, and then within a year he's offering you a percentage of the business to stick around, but you decided that you were going to go start your own gig. What was it in that year that made you decide I can do this better, faster, and make more if I did it for myself?
So gifted by God mechanically. So if I see something physically, I can touch. There's martial arts is a good transition. But if I do it one time, I can do it again. And then in finished carpentry, putting up a door, putting up casing, putting up base, and building a staircase, building these mantles, I just wanted to get better. And I had this drive just to get better, just to get better, just to get better. How much more can I do? What else can I do? And when people would come up to me and say, "Hey, can you do this?" I go, "Is it made out of wood?" They said, "Yeah." I go, "Yes." "Well, you don't even heard what I said." I'm like, "You're not understanding. I can do it." And they asked me to do radius suspended staircases. I won an award for Detroit Home Magazines for a staircase I did. Um, Pleasing all my customers because you do a great job. But I was just dedicated and I enjoyed going to work every day. I loved what I
Mm.
did. And then '08 happened. I had a bunch of crews and I didn't want to lose them, because there was no new building in Michigan. I was looking at the time, January 2000, January or February of 2009, there was 5 houses being built in Michigan. So there was no new building. So I had to transition, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, you want a house for $15,000?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I bought a house for 15,000. I put my guys in there, and all I wanted to do was fix it up, hold it for 3 years, and then sell it. And I made 3 times the amount of money doing that. But what I didn't realize is I should have kept them, refinanced 3 years later, pull all my money out, and then keep those houses. That's my biggest regret. All the houses that I did, I built and rehabbed over 100 houses, and I kept absolutely none of them. My biggest
Really?
regret.
No, why is that? Is it because you could have cashed out with a cash out refi and got your money and kept the house, or why is it that you would have preferred to have held on?
Because I would have had houses now that I sold for 125 that are worth 300,000.
Mhm.
Right? I would have cashed out at 125. I would have cashed out refi at 125, and I had 80, 90 into it. And then in '09, like another regret, you have all kinds of regrets. I was looking for houses, looking for work for my guys, and there was a tax sale, and I didn't understand syndication at that time. There was a tax sale, and there was block number 495. It was lot number 102 to 204. There was 102 lots, and they were going in '09 for opening bid $200,000. Right. That was a look on my face. Going once, going twice. I'm looking around with my jaw down, going, and you had to have the money that day, or if you didn't have the money that day, you were never allowed at the tax sale again. And I didn't have the money that day. I didn't understand syndication. I called up a few people and said, "Hey, we're going to buy some lots." Because 3 years later, they were sold for 30. We would have bought them for $2,000 a piece, and sold them for 30. That'd have almost been a 15x.
Right.
Yeah. And so, yeah,
Wow.
another regret of mine.
And that was what year?
'09.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
'09. Okay. Because that's when you started getting your feet really wet in real estate, was in that 2007 to 2009 process, 2008, 2009 process, which is when most people were getting out of it by default, right?
Correct.
I've heard of so many people, not just in real estate, but in business, that during an economic downturn in a certain market, that's the best time to start businesses. And maybe that's because you're a fresh mind coming in without the limitations that you've built of being in the business. I'm not sure, but what would you say is the reason that you started during that time, and why do you think that was an advantage to you, if it was?
It was an advantage, and the true advantage was that there was deals and nobody was buying them. That's the key. In hard times, Warren Buffett said best, I get greedy when people are scared and scared when people are greedy. And for the last few years, I've been really scared. Now I'm starting to get greedy because in multifamily, the cap rate determines the value of the property. It's the cap rates are around 3%. So if you're going to buy anything 1 to 10 million or $1 million property units, and the multiplier was 3%, you're going to make 3% on that money, right? Interest rates were 3%, right? And some people took, back in '08, 8 and 9, they had what they called ARMs for personal houses, adjustable mortgage rates, right? And that was a 3-year period, 3 to 5 year period, and then it would adjust whatever the rates were then. And the rates went up huge. A lot of people lost their houses to ARMs. They did the same thing in multifamily. They're buying properties at a 3 cap with a 3-year mortgage. So what happens 3 years when interest rates went from 3 to 7? The value of the property went from 100 million to 50 million. Because it's a multiplier, it's a divider, not a times. And the last few years, I couldn't talk to a broker. I'd call them up, hey, you got this deal. They wouldn't even call me back. Now I'm clicking on Crexy or clicking on LoopNet for multifamily, and they're calling me. Hey, I saw you looked at this property. I'm like, how did you know? Oh, you filled out a form because you wanted the OM, the offering memorandum. I'm like, wow, what a change. So people are scared now. And if you can make a deal work now, it's just like 2008. It's just like 2008. So when times are bad is when the best deals come out and there's no competition. That's the answer to your question.
What do you think has shifted in the last few years to make it such a opportune time for investors? Is it because of the rates going up, property values coming down, and people getting scared all over again?
Fear. Fear is my friend. Fear is my friend. When I compete at the U.S. Open, there's something, oh God, I hope my friends don't hear this. But when I compete at the U.S. Open, there's adult black belt elbow arm brick, and like 20 people come together, and I'm always the happy idiot with a smile on my face, and these guys are all like, I'm at the U.S. Open and there's all this competition, and I'm like, hey man, what's up guys? How you doing? What's going on? And they're like, you're too happy and excited about this. Like, yeah, this is the U.S. Open. They all shut down. It's fear, and I always play the head game. So if you tied with somebody, you had a break off where if you put up, if I put up, the first person goes first. If I went first and I usually wanted to go last, I could put up 10. The other person couldn't get another 10 again. You had to put 11 or 9. You had to put a different number up so you couldn't tie again on the break off. And every break off, they go, how many are you going to break? I go, one more than you. So it's really the head game. And I love fear because I don't even have to install it. They all install it on themselves.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Right? And if you don't think you can do it, you're right. I used to be a coach and tell people, you can do this, you can do this. And they say, I don't think I can do this. I'm like, you're right. What has to change in this equation for you to do it? I got to think I can do it. I go, bingo. Let's go that route.
It's always incredible too to see how offended people get when I do the same thing, by the way. And how offended people get, like, what do you mean I can't do it? And I'm like, okay, good. Like, the flip of that coin is okay, good, you're offended by that. Now the question is, are you going to do something about that and change how you think, or are you actually not going to do it? Right?
It's completely their choice. It's 100% their choice.
Yeah.
You get to do it or don't do it. It's up to you. Completely up to you.
When did
you know what that's like when you see somebody with that no in their head. And when I teach martial arts, I love teaching. If I can pull can't out of my students' head, I've already won.
Yeah.
Just don't think of can't. Just do what I say. And then they do, I can't do it. Do it again. I can't do it. Do it again. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Maybe I can do it. Maybe I can do it. Maybe I can do it. Now I can do it.
Right.
It's a process you want.
One of the things we're teaching our kids right now is we don't say can't in our household. We say I don't want to, or we say I don't want to, or I need help. There is no can't.
That's a great one. That is a great one. That is a great one. You just pull can't out of their head. They don't understand anything other than that. They're going to be very successful. Awesome.
Well, they still say it, and then we have to reiterate. We don't say can't, So maybe we'll get it. But hey, it's like training, right? It's like a martial art. You do it enough, and you do it the right way. Eventually, becomes a habit and a skill set, right? So maybe by the time they hit 20, then it'll be no. I can do whatever. It's I either don't want to bad enough, or I need help, right?
When you hear, I'll never forget my daughter. I kept telling my daughter something. Is like how kids are, Dad. And
Sure.
One day. Right? I'm sure you've heard that a couple hundred times.
Oh, yeah.
And my daughter, the thing I was telling her, and I forgot what it was, she told it to one of her friends when she was about 16, 17. And I looked at her and I go, she was listening. Your kids will tell people there's no such thing as can't. It's either I don't want to or I need help.
Right.
That's a successful parent.
I appreciate that. When did you start your journey in martial arts? Was this something as a child, or was this something that you built a level of freedom with your time to be able to then pursue the passions and hobbies that you had as an adult?
Yeah, it was, I do whatever I want now. I only go on podcasts like yours that I want to. I don't have to do anything anymore. I'm in a great spot. And, at the time I was still in a good spot. But my son comes home with a flyer and says, I want to join martial arts. And I go, I did martial arts when I was about 18, 19. I got my nose broken and got out of it. And he goes, I want to get in. I said, all right, let's try it out. So he tries it out. And then he got to yellow belt. And I go, you like it? He goes, yeah. I go, all right. And then at yellow belt, my wife goes, oh, I got the picture. My wife goes, you got to take him. I'm like, oh, I can't take him. I got things to do. I'm going to my mom's. You got to take him. I'm like, all right. I went and sat in the bleachers for 15 minutes. And I watched fathers, sons, mothers, daughters, mothers, sons, all practicing martial arts, because with martial arts, it's the only thing you and your kids can do together and get ranked equally. You can be a coach on a soccer team, coach on a baseball team, but you can't do anything that I know of that you can do with your kids other than martial arts. And so he was a yellow belt, and I sat in the bleachers for 15 minutes. And then I got up and I went over to the guy running the place and I said, I go, I can't watch this anymore. And he thought I was going to pull my kid out of the class. I go, I got to join. I can't sit there and watch you guys have all this fun and me sit down the whole time. And I got fitted for a uniform, and then I went out there, and I don't know why I have this in front of me right now, but this is me and my
That's
son
awesome.
with my white belt and his yellow belt, black stripe.
Wow.
And then 7 years later, I was running the place. And I went to the U.S. Open. And I went to the Arnold Schwarzenegger Sports Festival, and it's been an amazing career. Amazing career.
What what sparked the drive, not just for you to obviously get involved with your son, but when did it become this is bigger than me just doing something with my son and something to become a place of achievement for you?
So the achievement was a sidebar, but me and my son have a great relationship. And I lived in Florida, and Hurricane Helene took out my house, and I moved to South Carolina, 5 minutes away from my son right now. So
Oh
we're on
wow.
the same lake, and we're literally 5 minutes. I can go to his house on my boat. And we had to go to karate every day for 3 hours, every Wednesday, Monday for 3 hours, and then they had a Wednesday class, went Monday and Wednesday. But what I saw in that was my kid. What's great about martial arts, they don't care about your age, they don't care about your gender, they don't care about anything. They care about your belt. I got kicked up a belt so that me and him were at the same belt, and we got our black belts the same day, which is the fourth best day of my life. Getting married, having two kids, and then getting a black belt with my son. My daughter got her black belt. My wife's a second-degree black belt. And this is parenting lesson. I always try and throw this in there. This is a bonus question. How do you raise kids? And in martial, let me give you an example. You're going to want something. They're going to want something. Make that work, right?
Mm.
So my daughter came to me in karate class with her purple belt and said, when she was like 12, when can I date? I'm Italian, never, right? Just get married and we'll go on from there.
Sure.
And I saw her purple belt. It was a 5-year program. She's a year into it. I'm like, show me your black belt, because if anybody's touching her, then she's letting them.
Mm.
And I want my daughter to have a happy sex life. I just don't want to know about it. And I want her to be safe, right?
For sure.
So that was my goal. And then she goes, okay, fine. I didn't have to hear about anything from 12 to 16 years old. We made an agreement. And then when she got her black belt, she brought a dude over and she goes, I'm going on a date. And my line of black belts were 12 or 14. And I pats him on the shoulder and I said, if you piss her off, you got these guys to deal with. I go, good luck. Yeah, it was just one of the greatest kids she ever dated. So I didn't have to worry about anything. And she actually got on MTV for being a martial artist.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. So you talked about something that I think is elusive to most people in not just real estate but in business. And this is something I pulled out from before we got on to that conversation, but you mentioned that you do whatever you want whenever you want. I think that's the lifestyle that most people eventually have. What sacrifice did it take for you to get to be there?
That's a great question. That's a great question. That is an amazing question. I'm willing to do what the 99% aren't willing to do to be the
Mm.
1%. That's
And what
really
is
the
that?
key. Work your ass off, right? Here's the key. It's really simple. Work your ass off and save money. If you can do
Mm.
those two things, Dave Ramsey said it best. Live like nobody else so you can live like nobody else, right? There's a lot of people that make way more money than me, but they don't have anything.
Mm.
There's a lot of those people, right? They just spend whatever they get. So it's work your ass off for a period of time, save your money, and invest. That's really the key.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit with that because
Shoot.
I know there's a single mom out there right now who has 4 kids, who works 3 jobs, and makes $65,000 a year, and she's gonna do that until she's 60 years old. Do you think it just comes down to working hard, or does the vehicle matter, and does mindset matter?
Mindset matters more than anything. Mindset matters more than anything. If the girl you're talking about, here's the question. Do you know people that have a few kids that are single moms that are millionaires?
100%.
Okay, that's my point. So is it impossible to get out of it? Absolutely not. What I would tell that mother is find a coach of someone that is doing what you want to do and have them coach you to be where she's at, because that's completely possible. Harder, way harder, the situation she's in, but not impossible.
Mm. What are some of the pitfalls you see people making on their journey to success that keep them from it?
That's a great question. Yeah, really good question.
Thank you.
The pitfalls are um, not investing.
Hmm.
That's really key. So what you're supposed to do is, this one employee of mine at the time said one of the greatest things in the world. It was hourly, so when times were slow, he didn't make a lot of money. And he said, even when times were slow, '08 and '09, I had a hard time getting them work, but he stuck it through with me. And then, when times were good, he got more money. He goes, it doesn't matter what you make, it matters what you save. Even when he was making $100 or 75 or 150 or 200, only worked half a day of that week when times are hard, he saved some of that. That discipline, it gives him the ability to take money and invest. The objective is to work your ass off, save money, put it in an investment, and then your investment is like little green soldiers that run out making you little green soldiers.
Right.
Does that make sense?
The rules of money.
The laws of money. And the biggest pitfall, a lot of the biggest pitfalls, nobody's taught how to invest. I
Mm.
talked to people. A friend of mine's went to engineering school in Canada. In Canada, you go for 13 years, not 12 years. And then he went for 8 years after that to be a master's in engineering. And I go, hey, listen, you did more school than anybody I know. There's doctors I talked about this. They go, hey, what did they teach you about investing in school? And I said, do you think it's an accident? Or do you think the system wants you to be poor? And he just goes, I think the system wants us to be poor. So my mission is to show people how to invest and make money for doing nothing. Passive income, true passive income.
How does somebody do that when they're stuck? I'll let you take that for however you want to interpret it. But with somebody that's stuck, because I think we hear a lot of different people, the Dave Ramseys, the Grant Cardones, each different extreme. Some people say if you don't have 100 grand to invest, there's no point in it. So save 100 grand first. Like for somebody that's just stuck with all of the information, whether it's good or bad information that we have access to today, I think we're kind of in a season where we used to be called what was called in the information age, and I think now we're in the age of information overload, and we don't know what to trust. So for somebody that's stuck with all the input and just doesn't know what to do with their output, what advice would you give to them?
That's another great question. You got some amazing questions. This is one of the best podcasts I've ever been on. So
Thank you.
you're stuck. You're only stuck if your mind says you're stuck.
Hmm.
Now, if you think you're stuck, you're 100% right. You're stuck. Find out what you want to do. My suggestion is learn how to invest, right? And then save money, right? You got to save a portion of whatever you make, whatever that portion is, 10%, 20%, 30%, whatever you make, save a portion of it, and then it'll build, right? Once it builds into a nest egg, you got to have an emergency fund, like Dave Ramsey said, 12 to 1,500 bucks. And then when you get to the point where you're 3 to 6 months of expenses, of your expenses, then you invest. Learn how to invest. What's the best investment for you? And you know what most people get stuck on? Most people get stuck on fear. The fear of
Hmm.
losing what you got because you worked so hard for it. That's really the biggest mindset shift I have to help people overcome. Because fear will keep you stuck. That is what keeps you stuck, right? You know what is the difference between fear and danger?
Hmm.
So I teach, I do public speaking, and I said the difference between fear and danger is if I'm at the edge of a cliff, the danger of me falling off and dying is real in this world, right? Fear of that event does not help for me in any way, shape, or form. What is fear? And a lot of people say false analogies appearing real and some other adjectives. But fear truly is a figment of your imagination. It doesn't exist in the physical world. The shelves behind you have no fear. Your hat has no fear. This table has no fear. Fear only exists in the 8 inches between your ears. And here's the kicker of the whole thing. You have to create it. You are a fear generator. All you have to do is not create it. So what counteracts fear is knowledge. Anything you know how to do. What are you good at?
Me personally,
Yep.
asking really great podcast questions.
I agree 100%. I agree with that 100%. So are you afraid of it?
Nope.
Because you know it. You know it in and out, right? That's the key. Whatever you know how to do. I know how to do a jump reverse spin kick. I know how to do a hurricane kick. I know how to break bricks. Break bricks for fun, right? Most people are terrified of breaking bricks. I don't want to hurt myself, right? So if you know how to do it, and I show people how to break a piece of wood, and then I show them how to break a brick. Find somebody that does what you want to do. Follow them, have them coach you, and you'll be surprised where it takes you. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on coaching and learning over my career, and I've made more money. Here's something for you, for the real estate guys. There's two things I want to talk about. I got a coaching company, 7-figure flipping, great company. Bill Allen's an amazing individual. We hired them for a year. We paid a lot of money to get in, and my son didn't want to do it. He was my partner at the time. He goes, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm like, why? He goes, it's a lot of money. I'm like, if I could learn flipping, everything I need to know about flipping, what I could learn in building for the last 30 years, it's a deal. And we did it. And then we went to one of the seminars, and one of the girls, Becca Shea, said something that kind of baked my noodle the whole time. She goes, we appraise every property we sell, which most people don't, right? And I said, my son goes, let's do that on this one. And we were going to sell it for 125. We had an appraiser come out, and he appraised it for 145. So the coaching company that we paid for that year was taken care of in that one deal. And we do that every time. Now I coach people, and the student of mine, getting ready to sell a house, and he goes, I think it's going to be around 445 when it's done. I'm like, oh, beautiful, beautiful, sell it for that. And then the realtor comes up and says, it's worth 400. Drop it to 400 and you'll sell it. And I go, and I'm talking to him, and I go, okay, so, you know what you're supposed to do. You go, where'd the appraisal come in at? And he puts his head down and goes, I didn't get one. I go, then don't fucking talk to me again, period, until you get that appraisal. He calls me up 3 weeks later. I go, what is it? And he goes, 465. I go, done. Now you can tell your realtor to shut up, and then anybody that says it's not worth that, here's an independent appraiser. Not my appraisal, not your appraisal, an independent appraiser. So when you go to the bank, you know this is going to work. They have to get their own appraisal anyways. That $400 piece of paper has saved us up to $1 million so far. Every time we do it. Every time. That's the last thing we do. That is the last thing we do. We flip the house, we stage the house, we get pictures, we get appraisal. So that's get appraisals on everything you sell, everything. Even if you want to sell a boat, get an appraisal on it. Then you have fire. You can justify how much it's worth.
Sure. This is going to end up being a little bit of a longer show because we're already past our time, but I'm enjoying the conversation so much. No, that's not on you. That's on me for
You asked too many good questions, for God's sake.
I know. So one of the things we talked about. One of the things we talked about, Mike, pre-show was pricing sheets, and that being such a pivotal thing to your business. And I want to touch on that because I think there's a lot of value there that our listeners will get, whether they agree with you or not. But I want to touch on pricing sheets, what they are, and then how they're useful within your business as someone that's doing real estate.
So our company, our 7-figure flipping company, showed us this, and we call it a standardized pricing sheet. And what that is how much we pay for paint. And then it's an Excel, it's a huge Excel spreadsheet. And what it does is how much we pay for paint. We pay $2 labor for inside, and we pay 65 cents for material inside. And then primer. Primer's 10 cents and 65 cents to install, or 75 cents to install. It's like a buck a foot. And then how much the garage is to paint exterior, how much the outside the house to paint exterior, how much in Michigan we have a lot of basements, how much to paint the basement floor, how much to paint the basement walls. And then we plug in the square footage of that particular item. And then the material comes up and then the labor comes up. So we know how much it's going to cost to paint that house. And then we hand it to our contractor, and we have the lights, and we have the coach lights, we have the recessed lightings, we have the eyeball catches, we have locks, we have our kitchen sinks. Our house, if you want to see it, if you want to see one of our houses we're selling, look at the last 10, and that's the house. Same color flooring, same color walls, same sink, same granite countertop, same cabinet, same everything. We don't do any. We're the Pulte of flipping. But what that does is the contractor doesn't have to look for work. The contractor doesn't have to bid it out. And then on top of that, the next sheet in that spreadsheet is every item we've asked about, SKU numbered from Home Depot. I need one sink. I need 7 cabinets. I need 2 eyeball lights. I need 7 door locks. I need 2 exterior door locks. I need this, this, and this. And then you hit a button on and it collapses, and it has the SKU number, the item number, and the amount with a sheet. They hand it over to the Home Depot desk. They pay for it out of their account, and they get the discount. So, ours are on, let's say, average of $10,000, $11,000 for a flip for the material. They put it into the bid room, and they save a couple grand, either $1,500 or $1,000. They get that discount. We pay 10% more than what it shows on the Home Depot website. So they get their taxes paid for and a little bit of money for their effort to do this, which their effort is hand it over to them, pay for it, and they deliver it. So they get to the job site knowing exactly what they got to do, and the material's there. We can't make it any easier if we tried. So the contractor just wants to go in there and do the work. And then if there's a part missing, like we missed something like, shark bites. Oh, we need 4 shark bites. Add 4 shark bites, and it's $20 to install and $15 for the material. And so their pricing sheet's all set. They get the house done. We got it down to, we can flip a house. We flipped the house in 5 days. We flipped the house in 5 days. It wasn't a big flip. And then we go up to 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So our crews can flip a house in 4 weeks. So our longest time is selling it. Selling it and closing. Once we sold it, it takes 45 days to close. So we'll buy the house, flip it in a month, and then wait for closing.
And are you still playing around with single family houses, or are you doing mostly apartments now?
I'm concentrating on the apartments because we got the systems and process of flipping houses. We got someone out there. We sold half our company to our partner, and he runs everything. And I'm on a call twice a week for 10 minutes. Here's the house. Here's what we need to do. And all right, this is done. This is done. This is done. All right, good. See y'all later. So we got that systematized down. Now we're in the multifamily, and that's just true passive income. That is just, I save my money to do this, and I absolutely love it because with apartment complex, you got to, anything over 12, 14, you got to have a property manager.
Right.
They do all the work. They handle all the toilets, the tenants, and all the problems. And then, I'm on a meeting with those 5-10 minutes a day, each one a week. I got another one tomorrow morning. It'll probably last 20-30 minutes. We just purchased 168 units in Summerville, South Carolina.
Last question before we wrap this thing up. If you had to go back to the beginning, it's going to be a good one. If you had to go back to the beginning, not starting over right now, but if you had to go back to the beginning, but you could take all of the knowledge that you've gained over the last 30 years, what would you do different and what would you do the same? I'd do the same martial arts because it really showed me a lot. In martial arts, it shows you a systems and process, how to build businesses, basically. I just picked my same wife, the perfect girl for me.
I picked the same kids. I think I would have had more kids, but in business, I think I would have concentrated on the multifamily a little bit early on. Because if I would have I would have got those lots. I would have bought more apartment complexes in 9, 10, 11, because they weren't going for really good deals, but they were good deals then. And time in apartment complexes is money. Time is money, right? If a house appreciates 20% and it's $100,000 house, in 3 years and appreciates 20%, you're $120,000. If an apartment complex is 10 million, now it's at 12 million. You made $2 million in 3 years. Economy of scale. Does that make sense?
100%. Absolutely. Well, Mike, thanks for being here today. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's show. If people want to learn more about you, Mike, what you're working on, where should they go for that?
Sure. ARC Investment Ventures, AI Ventures, LLC.com, or you can hit me up at Mike at AI Ventures, LLC.com, or my phone number is 248-202-7357. Give me a shout out if you have any questions. I love helping people. And if they have a hard time with deals, I love solving big problems. The bigger the problems, the more I like it.
There you go, folks. You heard it. Now all 6 million of you go send him a text. Just kidding. There's not that many of them. But anybody that ever drops their phone number, I always try to make them sweat a little bit. So that's great.
I know how to block. I know how to block people.
Yeah, that's true. Be responsible. Right? That's all we ask. And if you do reach out and you're not a jerk about it, just let them know you heard it here first. So we appreciate you coming on again, Mike, and everyone. Again, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we'll see you in the next. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me. It was a great time.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.